friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today, welcome to another Worship on Wheels. I know what you're saying, man, things look different. Yes, they do, as a matter of fact. We are on board Oxford, my speed triple, Oxford the Beast. But that has nothing to do with the Worship on Wheels this morning, other than I just wanted to mention the change of venue. No, I won't be doing this ride with him every week, but I do enjoy riding him, and I wanted to take him out this morning so that I could savor the flavor of another ride. Yes, man, it is a beautiful morning here in Tallahassee, Florida, and I hope that you're doing well as life unfolds for you. Oh yeah, here we go, here we go. Oh yeah. Yep, it's a lot of fun riding this old bike. There we are, catch the old minivan and the school bus. So today's Worship on Wheels, man, it's a good one. In fact, I want to thank Sergeant Ed. He sent me a verse this week, and I'm going to share it with you in just a moment. But what I want to do before we get going is talk a little bit about something that happened. So many times I have people come up to me and they will say something that will reinforce what the Bible verse was about, and I take this stuff very seriously, as you know, and I also take it quite literally. So I had a kid yesterday, we were working out, and he's a newbie. Very athletic kid, lean, muscular, just a nice young man. And he didn't mean this in an ugly way. In fact, I think he was trying to compliment me. But he had mentioned another coach, and he had said that this coach, this particular coach, seemed to be more of a taskmaster, and that I wasn't. That he understood that when I told him to do certain things, that it might be hard. In fact, it was going to be hard. And he often, I said, oh, this one's going to be fun. This is a fun drill. He meant, oh no, that means it's going to hurt really bad. But what he said, he told me, he goes, you're a coach. You're fair, and you're not harsh. And I thought about this verse that Sergeant Ed had sent me this week about how in every arena of our life we have certain things that we do, and we have to behave in certain ways in order to get it all right. And if we take these premises, these three things that we're going to talk about today, then I'm going to tell you this will apply to everything you do, whether it's riding a motorcycle, whether it is, you know, being a spouse. Ooh, something sharp in the road there. You don't want to grab that in the tire. All of those things you want to be able to think about, and you want to know that as your life unfolds and as you do things, you are effective in the things that you do. And people will notice. There will be a difference in you and the others, and it doesn't make the others bad people. In fact, I'm going to tell you, the coach he was referring to, talent-wise, is absolutely so far superior to me, it's not even funny. I mean, this coach has more skill than I could ever imagine having. But for a newbie, it's just overwhelming. And so they need someone like me. That's what they need. So I'm going to read the Bible verse, and we're going to talk about how that applies to our entire life. Let me get around these curves. I get to a stop sign, because I definitely ain't going to be doing no reading while I'm riding the triple. That is for doggone sure. You know, these turns used to be so hard for me. I mean, to do it at that speed, it's just crazy. All right. So let's read this Bible verse real quick. He has shown you, O mortal, that's us, these old mortal people, you know, the ones that are going to die, that's us. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. So we're going to talk about those three things: being just, being merciful, and being humble. Wow, there's a lot there, isn't there? Man, there's a lot there. This could be a Worship on Wheels 3-hour sermon 5-part series. So let's start out with just. You know, we get our word justice from that, and we talk about being just, being fair. You know, one of the hardest things that we have to do in our life is to be fair, because we all define fair differently, right? Because what's fair to me might not seem fair to you. If I'm really gifted at something, it may come very easy to me. Something that is easy to you, I may be going, well, it's unfair that you have an advantage at this. You know, you grew up riding motorcycles, so you're better than me. It's unfair. That's not fair. So fairness is a very difficult concept for us humans to grab a hold of. We want to be fair in everything that we do. We have to set a standard, and that standard is this. And the standard doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm better than you or you're better than me. What matters is that we have the same standard for both of those individuals. The one that surpasses that standard can certainly be rewarded and commended, and that is a wonderful thing, and they should be. And the one that is working towards that goal is to be flattered and commended as well, because that is also a good thing. So being fair can sometimes be difficult. It can sometimes be very difficult as we go through this life, you know, treating others fairly. We create this standard in our mind, and we just say, well, that's just right there. I have the right to treat them terribly. They're not as articulate as I am, or they're not as tall as I am. They're not as muscular as I am. They're not as fast as I am. You fill in the blank. They're not as smart as I am. Whatever it is that we do, and we all do it, by the way, we have to cast those things out. We have to be just and not think that everyone is us, because they're not us. So find that standard. I've found that the standard that I utilize is in the Bible. If I know my verses and I know I've written them on my heart, we talked about that one, last week, how the Bible is a lamp to my feet, you know, a light to my path. I can act justly if I know the standard. You know, as humans, God knows this as well. When we act justly, guess what? We're gonna mess up. And that's why he says, and mercifully. We have to do it with mercy, because sometimes we're going to mess that standard up. You know, do you remember the game when you were a kid? You put your hand, you put it in the other person's hand, you bend their hand backwards, and then they bend your wrist back and it will hurt, and you go, mercy, right? And they let go, and it wouldn't hurt anymore. Well, oftentimes when we're executing just behavior, we hurt people. We bend that old wrist backwards, and we got to show mercy. We got to show mercy. There's more than just holding the standard. If you just hold the standard, you're no more than a bullwhip with a razor blade on the end of it, man. You've got to be merciful. Merciful. You know, that is the one thing that I would say is lacking in society today, and there are many things, but one major thing is mercy. People aren't merciful anymore. They want to stick the knife in and twist it, you know, with a family member that might have wronged you, or any of that stuff. You just want to get them back. That's not the way to be. That's not merciful. So we have to show mercy even when we're right. In fact, especially when we're right. Because honestly, unless you are in a position of authority over someone, normally, you're not having to show mercy. They're going to be showing mercy to you because they're going to be in a position of authority over you. The guy that's breaking your wrist is not saying mercy. You are. So when you're in that position of authority where you're overpowering that individual, when you're right, when you're wrong, all of that, you have to be merciful. You have to be merciful. Now the last thing, man, and you talk about another thing that is lacking in our society, and walk humbly with your God. Wow. Oh man, I could talk for days about that. What does humble look like? Is humble weak? I don't think it is. You know, in fact, I don't like athletes who brag on themselves. I never really have. It's just one of those things. I know Muhammad Ali was an exceptional boxer. I just didn't like him. I'll just be honest with you, because he always ran his mouth. Could he back it up? He could. He absolutely could. The braggadocious, over the top, I don't like that. I just don't like it. And you know what? I think that's an ugly part of human nature. I need to turn around, right? Yeah. All right. When I was a young man playing football for Valdosta High School, we had a coach named Nick Hyder. You can Google Nick Hyder. I bet he has a Wikipedia page. The guy was an amazing man, huge influence in my life. But he used to always tell us, be a gentleman, be honorable, be polite. In victory, be modest. In defeat, be modest. You don't go around bragging and talking a bunch of smack. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I never do that when I'm hanging out with my buddies and we're just messing with each other. Okay, that's different, all right? Yeah, you know, you're going to get away with that some here and there. We all do that. But when it comes time to do something, like when I'm coaching, the last thing the kids that I coach want to hear is how good I am. You know what? They want to hear how good they are. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use yourself as a reference point, but if you're just constantly bragging, you're one of those braggadocious people, you probably need to back it off a little bit. And I have found out in my life, a lot of times, those who talk the loudest have the least to say. There again, you can do with that one whatever you want. But I don't think that it's happenstance that I ended up being a coach and carrying those attributes. It's not coincidence that I have those attributes. Nick Hyder, a man that's been dead a long time, taught those attributes to me. Not by telling me about them, by doing them. Yep, the old-fashioned way. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? So remember, justly, mercifully, and humbly. You know, it also talks about walking, not just walking humbly, but also walking humbly with your God. The reason that's put in there is God does tell us that we are mortals and that we need His guidance. We need to walk with Him and be a light to others. Remember, I'm not God and you're not God. He is. Position's already taken, and I sure am glad it is. But yesterday, I couldn't help but think about those three things when that young man was complimenting me, and I'm like, I don't deserve this, but I'll sure take it with a big smile on my face and be grateful that someone sees that I'm acting justly, mercifully, and walking humbly with my God. Man, life is great, isn't it? Look at that right there. My goodness. Well, friends, I hope today you know something. I hope you know that you, yes you, you are loved, and so am I. That's really good news, by the way. Now you know what you got to do. You got to go change the world. We'll see you on the road real soon. God bless.